You are being programmed. Now, you're probably wondering what this means. You're probably wondering why I'm talking about this right now. And this is a very important subject to understand. This is something extremely important to really get across, is that we're all being programmed. And what does this mean? Well, programming comes from different things. It comes from the external environment. And the first thing to understand is that, so here you are, right? So this is a person. And let's say, for example, you introduce an external, some kind of external pressure. So let's call that heat. So if you apply heat to this person, what are they going to do? So the response, like this person's output, so if the input here, so input is heat, then the output, now what is the output? Well, you sweat, you get to shade, you go to a cool area, you do all these things. And this is what it's all about. Now, let me get something to erase this, just so you guys, because you understand that, you saw that. So, this is how things work. This is how everything works from the human body. There's an input, the input goes in, and then an output occurs. So, what you really have to understand is that why you're being programmed, what programming means is that something in the external is causing something in the external. This is what I consider to be programming. So this is programming, right? Because if you introduce something new, so let's say, for example, and this is really where the value starts to come in here to understand. So if you input, let's say buy more clothes, and that input is being told. So if the society, people around you, marketers, if they're constantly saying buy more clothes, well, then the output over time is you're eventually going to succumb to it. So over the course of many repetitions, many different angles convincing you that the right move is to buy more clothes, whether that's logical, whether that's emotional, whatever it is, eventually the more, if you just keep hearing buy more clothes, eventually the decision you're going to make is pretty simple. You're going to buy more clothes, right? So buy more. Just put buy more. And this is the way that marketers program you. They make you feel like through different angles, so whether it's like not being good enough, lack of confidence, really a lot of negative things, they program you to feel bad about yourself, right? So we'll put a little smile down face. And that's what they think. So they think like no clothes. This is just an example. So no clothes. And then what does that equal? So that's supposed to be an arrow. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is, so no clothes equals unhappy. But if you buy clothes, the association they create, so buy. So if you buy them, what does that equal? Well, you're happy. That's what they convince you, right? They convince you that that's the answer. So you're being programmed all the time, and I hope this makes sense. I hope this is pretty clear at this point. So now, let's take this to a hockey angle. So when we're talking about hockey, the reason that it's important to understand that you're being programmed is it's very important to understand that the things you put in are the things that you get out in your hockey game. And this doesn't mean that you can't relax, you can't let loose, you can't have time away from the rink. It doesn't mean you have to constantly always be implanting hard work and hockey-focused things into your brain. But what it means is that the focus, the main inputs, you have to really be conscious of the inputs. So, for example, let's say that you put inputs of, this is a good example for me, so getting lean, so getting a really low body fat. And let's say also, dressing well is another one. So these are two things that I have kind of had programmed in my brain that are super important. So what that leads me to think is that really, like over the course, we don't have to worry about what the reaction is here, but the inputs you put in here the outputs that eventually come out, because I've been convinced that, is I've been able to get lean. And really, something I've focused a lot more on, which I never did in the past, was I bought clothes. So something that's super unusual, but because the inputs were always like get lean, get ripped, get as lean as you can, so that was something that I focus on, and I was actually getting to a point where I was starting to drop into like below 8% body fat, which is really not necessary for hockey players at all. But that was something I chose to do because those were the inputs, and that was coming from Instagram, Facebook, many different people talking about intermittent fasting, lifting a certain way. But what I didn't realize is I don't care. These outputs don't equal anything to do with hockey. So here's the thing. Now, let's talk about some important inputs that you can put in that are going to equal something out. So, for example, let's say hockey highlights, for example. So if you're constantly watching hockey highlights of elite players, what you're gonna find, what's gonna happen is that the output, so you input those hockey highlights in, you're constantly repeating them. And it's something that I actually teach in my programs, is how to use the hockey highlights being constantly repped in to then cause the output of then doing the things in this clip. So high. So I'm just going to go with high performance because there's a million different things that watching these clips can do. But they're going to lead to you performing better because these are specific things in the game, like shooting or passing or patterns. So all these things, if you're constantly inputting quality information, so it's important to understand that, you probably heard this before, but like quality. So quality in, what does that lead to? Quality in equals quality out. So what are some actionable steps that you can take? So now that you understand the concept, you understand the principles, what are some actionable steps you can take here? So, number 1, unfollow. So what I suggest you do is you unfollow everybody on your Instagram. What I did is I made a second account where I followed my friends and other accounts that I'm not really super interested in that don't lead to the inputs that I want to get the outputs. So I unfollowed everybody that I felt wasn't going to help me with my hockey performance. I went and followed them all on my other account, so I don't look at that account really at all. I look at it maybe once a week when I want to kind of let loose and just let go, relax. What I did, I unfollowed them. I followed hockey accounts. So you'll notice that if you look at my followers on Instagram, or my following on Instagram, is starting to slowly narrow down, and I'm following less and less people, and I'm starting to really identify what accounts I want to follow that have hockey highlights, physical improvement and performance stuff, mental stuff, and those are going to lead to higher output. So go and unfollow anybody that's not benefiting you. So if you feel like my content with the mental stuff, if you really feel like you have the mental stuff dialed into a point that you just know you can't improve anymore, then 100% you shouldn't be following me, because what I'm going to be doing is programming stuff in that's not important. But what I suggest is that I think that I am offering a lot of quality information, so that's why I'm putting it out there. So go and unfollow. And then 2, clean room. Now this sounds stupid. This sounds really stupid. But understand, when your room's dirty, when you're not efficient, you're not organized, what happens is that your brain is constantly thinking about all the disorganization. You're programming your mind to be sloppy. And that sloppiness is going to carry over into other aspects of your game. And you're not going to perform the same way because you have other things weighing on your mind. So become a high performer in everything. And that's going to lead to you being, so put quality inputs in. So you walk into your room, you see a made bed, a clean room, organized in a specific way. And that's going to lead you to be programming yourself for performance at all times. So let's focus on that. Understand that you're being programmed all the time, but you get to select the inputs. And then because you get to select the inputs, you ultimately have control of the outputs. So thanks for watching, guys, and make sure to give this video a like if you liked it. Leave a comment letting me know if you want to learn more or what you liked about this video, what you didn't. And make sure to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.